Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom Cunty from Shanghai back for another Eurovision reaction video. Today I'm going to be reacting to your results in the community polls about who's going to qualify from semi-final number 2 in Eurovision 2022. So let's kiki. So once again, thank you to everybody who voted. We had in total over 37,000 votes. That's really awesome. Thank you to everyone who also responded about whether you can change votes or not. In the end, what I've decided to do is that after each day of the final rehearsals, I'm going to post the polls again, because I just don't want to have people having to look through and find things. I think it's a little bit tedious. So it's better if I just post them all in one big block. So for example, if there's 8 rehearsals, I'll just post those 8 all at the same time and people can vote. And then what I'll do is I'm going to compare the votes now, and we can look at the change and see which ones have changed the most for the positive and for the negative, and if there's any changes in terms of who people think are going to qualify. So I think that's going to be really interesting to look at, but obviously that's going to be something we're going to do after the rehearsals start, which is surprisingly soon. The rehearsals start, I think, on the end of April. The first rehearsals are not available for the press to see. So the first rehearsals that can be seen by the press, I think is on May 5th or 4th or something like that. So not too far away, only around not even 2.5 weeks, less than 2 weeks, really close. April has done 9, literally 2 weeks from now. Okay, so that's pretty exciting. It's coming up real soon. Okay, so let's find out who the 10 qualifiers are. Let's try the clicking thing again. Let's magic in my whiteboard. Seamless magic tricks. Okay, let's find out who your 10 qualifiers were. This is in a random order. The first qualifier was Poland. I don't think it was all going to fit. Why did that all fit in last time? Oh, it's because it's too low. Second qualifier is Australia. Do jazzy upbeat music that I can't get copyrighted for. Third qualifier is Estonia. Then, surprise, surprise, it's Sweden. Our fifth qualifier was Belgium. Oops. Belgium. Sixth qualifier is Serbia. Why is it so hard to see today? I don't get how it would fit last time and this time there's not enough space. I don't get it. What's different? Is my camera lower? Oh, it's because my camera's not as far back this time. Ah, okay, sorry, now I get it. I'm gonna work out why it was so hard to fit everything in. Okay, that makes more sense. Bastard, this is off. How long has that been off for? Our seventh qualifier is Finland. Let me get who's actually left and then I can try and make it as dramatic as possible. We've got 3 qualifiers left. The 8th qualifier is Czechia. The 9th qualifier is Cyprus. Stand up, you little bitch. Our final qualifier, drama. Oh my, so much drama. The tension is just unbearable. It is Romania. Doodaloo. That was meant to be happy music. Which means, unfortunately, our 10-1 qualifiers are Ireland. Can you see this? Fecker. Just about. Azerbaijan. North Macedonia. I like how their flag, you can just keep turning. How many flags are like that where you can just keep turning it and it's the same flag? San Marino. Well, speaking of flags that you can turn around, this flag also can turn around as well. That's Georgia. Oh my god, you absolute bitch. Israel, Montenegro, and last and maybe least, Malta. Oh, you fecker. It's because the chair's curved. That's why it's so difficult to stick. I can't get another one because I can't leave my room. I'm still in lockdown for another 2 days. I'm on lockdown within lockdown. Okay, so those are our 10 winners. Well, not our, because I wasn't able to vote. Those are your 10 winners and your 8 losers. First, I'm going to look at them through the running order, which I accidentally already recorded and I forgot to do this. So that's why this is going to disappear for a couple of minutes. But at the end of that segment, this will be back again. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you in the running order how they were, because I think that shows up a couple of interesting things. First of all, from the first half you guys put through 4 songs, and from the second half you put through 6, which I totally agree with. I think that this semi-final is going to end up being a 4-6 split. That is actually the most common split when you look at the running orders between the first half and the second half. It's either 4-6 or 4-5. The reason it's 4-5, which only adds up to 9, is that if you have a semi-final with an odd number, that song in the middle is technically not the first half or the second half. So I usually just eliminate it, which means the semi becomes a 4-5. That is the most common ratio for songs qualifying from either half. So I definitely agree with that. So I think that's spot on. I also think it's interesting that there isn't too much of a streak. There does seem to be like a quite dark period in the first half from Azerbaijan to San Marino, where you guys think that there's going to be 4 non-qualifiers in a row, which is something that's very possible in the first half. With the strongest period coming at then, you guys think the last 3 songs are going to qualify. Okay, now we'll look at them all ranked from 1st to 18th. So the winner, the person who got the most yeses, was actually Poland, a bit surprisingly. I kind of thought maybe it was going to be Sweden. I thought that was going to be a bit of a clean sweep, but it wasn't. And it's interesting because it got me feeling a little bit, what if this ended up being a little bit of an Anna Bergendahl situation? I'm not predicting that Sweden are not going to qualify, but I'm interested to know anyone who was kind of very heavily into Eurovision around, I think it was 2010 when Anna Bergendahl didn't qualify. Can you let us know, was she a big favourite at the time? Because I'd be very interested to see, was it a similar vibe of her being a big favourite and then it kind of like surprised and unqualified? Now, I still don't think that's going to happen, but I don't think the thought has even crossed a lot of people's minds. I have to admit, seeing that it was only 88% made me think, oh, maybe this isn't 100% sure. So that was interesting that it kind of like elicited that thought in my mind, like Inception. You guys incepted into my mind. Third place was Cyprus with 82. I have to admit, I don't feel that confident with Cyprus. I'm definitely hoping that they're going to be one of the ones that go through. I'm possibly a little bit more cautious just because I like the song so much. I'm cautious about being overconfident in the songs that I obviously see the merits in. Fourth was Estonia with 82. Again, I really do hope that this is the case. I think this deserves to qualify, but yeah, I don't know if I'm kind of getting a little bit complacent about it. Fifth was Serbia with 81, and interesting as well, this was a song that got the most votes, 2,500, so this was one that people felt very strongly about. I'm happy to see this doing so well. I've been keeping a really strong eye on the Euro jury, which, if you don't know, the Euro jury is a competition that Eurovoix does, which is an online Eurovision blog. Of course, it's an online Eurovision blog. What other type of blog is there? And every year they email a bunch of people from the Eurovision community, whether it be acts or delegation people or backup singers or dancers, and they just say, look, please will you send us your points, and they make little juries for each country, which are varying sizes, mostly 3-4ish, but sometimes 2, and then they give out votes. It's not a perfect system, but it's quite interesting to kind of give an indication where might the jury votes go in the actual competition. And this has been getting a couple of points in the jury, not as many as I'd expected, so I was a little bit worried about it. So you guys giving it 81% just gave me a little bit more confidence. For me, I just still can't get over the fact this is a third in the running order. I still do feel like it'll go through because I do hope that people will see the quality and the art in it. But yeah, it is I think it's the one I'm going to be the most anxious about when I'm watching the semi-final. By the way, I'm going to be live streaming both semi-finals and the final, in case I haven't already mentioned that already. I don't think I have. So our sixth highest was Australia with 77%. Again, very high. I do think that's correct. I think this is going to get a very good jury score. On top of that, apparently he's going to be going very big with the performance. He's hyped it up a little bit. It sounds like it's going to be very dramatic. I don't think they're going to hold anything back, and we've seen that Australia can actually be very good with their staging. So I'm actually got pretty high expectations for this performance. Seventh was Finland. Again, there was a bit of a drop off, by the way. So those 6 all had above 75%, and then there was a bit of a drop off. We had a 10% drop down to Finland and Czechia, who were together in 7th and 8th place. So again, I do think Finland's correct. I think that although it's first in the draw, I think that this is very solid. This has also been doing very well with the Euro jury. It's also got a couple of points at the OGE as well. Again, all these sources are something you take with a pinch of salt, but at this point in time, we don't have any rehearsal information yet, so we kind of have to work with everything that we've got. Czechia, I don't know anymore. I would have to say that's probably the first one I'm going to disagree with. You guys put it through 67%. I'm just not convinced by her pre-party performances. Now I am going to go through and do a review of one of them. Actually, if there's one in particular you think I should look at, I know there's one where she gave the finger to one of the sound people, but she seemed to be having a lot of problems with the sound in all of her performance, and it gets to the point where it's like, okay, is this a coincidence, or why does this always only happen, or why does this seem to constantly be happening to Dominika? So yeah, I think an EDM song really needs the vocals to be great. That's another reason why I'm also worried for Austria. So with that in mind, I'm just a little bit more concerned about it. I always used to consider the last slot in the semi to be a very safe one, but then Denmark didn't qualify from it last year, and Trigano Park came last when they were in the final slot. So yeah, I don't think it's the super safe place that I used to think it was. So I'm going to disagree with that, but I need to wait and see what the rehearsals are. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to replace it with, but you can probably already guess. In ninth is Belgium. Now, Belgium had a perfect 50-50, and like with Moldova in the first semi-final, I actually couldn't see which bar was further ahead. This was really like properly, really close. Having said that, I was checking the poll quite regularly, and this was more often 51% than it was 49%. So we're gonna say that there was a slight majority to get him through. I have to admit, I do agree with that now. I've had that song in my head the last couple of days. I do think it's quite catchy. I think it stands out and it's on its own. I definitely don't think it's safe by any means, but at this point in time, I am pushing it into my borderline. I can't remember why I put it in my video. I think it might have been borderline yes or no. I can't remember, but I'm more confident in it being borderline yes now. And then the final qualifier, which was a really pleasant surprise. I wonder if it's wishful thinking or if it's people with their real thinking caps on being objective, but it was Romania with 46%. I think that would be a lovely surprise if it happened, but I do still think at this point that it would be a surprise. It's very solid, but it's so solid to the point that I do feel it's relying on other people to mess up. I don't really know how much he can elevate the song other than giving a very solid dance performance, but I kind of will expect that from him. So I think it's up to other people to mess up or fluff. Like, we can see people really screw up their staging, and I think that will bump him up a place. And enough people do that, I think he can move up, but I'm not really convinced by it yet. I'm not associating Romania with good staging in recent years. So I'm not disagreeing with you there. I think that's one of the borderline. I think I had as my borderline no. In 11th place was Azerbaijan with 42. Now this is where I disagree. As you probably guessed, I would swap this with Czechia at this point, or Romania. I still think Azerbaijan's going through. I just think the jury's are going to mop this up. I think he's vocally very strong. I think they're going to have very intense staging. I am going to do a live review to this in my little mini live review series that I'm doing. And I just think that they're going to throw a shitload of money at it in any way that they deem necessary to qualify. There's a reason that they've only non-qualified once, and that was with Cross My Heart, and it came 11th, and it was in the first running order spot. And that was from the Semi of Death in 2018, the one that Ireland came 6th in. What was that called again? I absolutely love that. By the way, that's my favorite Irish song since Lipstick is Together. I love that song. I think that ended up being my number 3 that year. Speaking of Ireland, they came 12th with 29%. So quite a drop down from Azerbaijan that were 42, quite a big drop down to Ireland. But still, that's pretty good going to be in 12th spot. Shows that there's a bit of fan love for this. This is the type of song for me, which, do you remember how last year San Marino, Adrenalina, and Cyprus, El Diablo, those kind of upbeat female bop songs did really well with the community, and then underperform, which is pretty much a standard, which is a very common pattern, that those bops do really well with the community and then kind of not flop, but don't do as well with the general public, because I think our community tends to skew more towards those songs. This is one of those type of songs, and yet it's still not doing very well, and that's one of the things that's a little bit concerning for me, because if you look at Cyprus, you guys have put it 3rd with 82%. I don't think Cyprus is going to come 3rd in this semi. That's not what you said, but I'm conjecturing from the yes percentage. That is the type of percentage I would want to see for an upbeat female bop, but this instead is in 12th. It's got 0 points in the OJE, which is very concerning, because the OJE again skews heavily towards those female bops. It's got no points in the Eurojury either. It's one of very few countries that don't have points from either. So as encouraging as it is that you guys have put it on 12th, and I hope that you're right, I still am really struggling to see the path for this going through. I just don't think it's going to happen. 13th, we had Montenegro with 25 points. I think that's partly due to them having a very good draw. Some people making good points in the comments for that about how the song probably would have been better in English, in Montenegrin. I do agree with that. I think actually that probably would have given a little bit of a mystical element, even if she'd done it in Montenegrin with maybe a couple of lines in English. It would have given that extra mystery and ethnic feel and cultural identity that would have helped it maybe stand out a little bit. But overall, I do think that Montenegro this year are much better than in previous years. Georgia in 13th with 21%. I'm still putting this as one of my surprise qualifiers. I think they're going to pull it out visually, but we need to wait until the rehearsal. That is one of the rehearsals I'm looking forward to the most, because I think I'm going to be able to look at it and know pretty quickly whether they've messed it up or whether they've done enough to get over the line. But you guys gave it 21%. These last 5 are actually quite close together, ranging from 17 to 21. San Marino were also 21%. I agree with that. I don't really see a path for this in its current state. Also, Italy aren't voting in the semi. Then we have Israel in 16th with 19%. Again, I agree with that. I think that's pretty accurate. Like, even the order that you guys have given, I largely agree with. Just a couple of changes in that middle borderline important bit, but I agree with a lot of the stuff at the top. Down the bottom, North Macedonia second last, also with 19%, and then at the bottom was Malta with 17%. Okay, so that is what I thought about your results from the community poll in the community section. If you haven't voted already, I'll leave a link in the description and you can add your votes in, because I will maybe do a final tally before I save it and then do comparisons. But like I said, once rehearsals happen, I'm going to post, probably there's usually around 8 people rehearsing per day. I will post all 8 after the final rehearsals, and then you can all vote and we can do a comparison and see what the difference is. And obviously I'll do a video on that, analyzing this thing, who's jumped up and who's jumped down. So yeah, please let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another Eurovision reaction video very soon. Goodbye.